Welcome to Creating Documents with Word, Microsoft Essentials Course Part 3. And Part 3 will take it a step further. What we'll do here is we'll focus on adding objects. Now, there's really nice objects that we can add to a Word document to make it look really nice. We'll take a look at images and tables, and if we have time, we'll cover some other objects as well. Once we're done, we'll go into review our document with some proofing tools, and then we'll go ahead and deliver our document as well. Here's a kind of a snapshot of what we want to create. So we want to create a really nice looking menu using Microsoft Word. And you can see we can convert it to a PDF. And this is what it looks like. So it looks really nice. We have a nice header up here at the top. And here's the actual menu. Nice images, good use of colors, consistent formatting. And so that's what we want to be able to create today. Now, I do have a document ready for you. Here's the document. This will help us to get started. To make things simpler for you, I've included the images in here. You can feel free to add your own images if you want to. Here are also the description of the menu items as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit here. I don't want to see the two-page orientation. What I'm going to do is I'm going to insert a page break right here, because these are just instructions. I'll go ahead and click on the Insert tab, and I'll go ahead and insert a page break. I want that first page to leave room on that first page for my menu. I also want to go ahead and make sure I'm using really small margins. So I'll use half here. And as far as the paper size, I do want it to be, let's say I'll go for tabloid, right? Tabloid is wider, really good for tables and pictures. And I have a really nice big canvas to work with here. So first thing I want to do is go ahead and insert a table. So I'll go ahead and insert a table. And to do that, I can click on the Insert tab, and right here is the table. So I can simply draw the table if I want to. So I did have 6 items, and only allows me to do 6 rows right now. And I do have 4 columns. So I'll go for 4 by 6. And there we go. Right. So I'll go ahead and start filling out the information. So I'll use my menu here as a reference. So we have item, description, image, and price. Okay, so item, so I'll type that here. This is image, and this is the price. Okay, you can actually change these if you want to. But right now, I just want to go ahead and get started. The really nice thing about tables is that each cell has its own, can have its own formatting. So this is a really nice way to make sure that you're not worried about all the different line breaks that are in Word. If you take a look at the different templates that are available, most of them are used by creating a table. Let's see if I can make this table bigger. I'll go ahead and drag it down like this. I want it to cover the entire page, so I'll go down as far as I can. I'll go down to about here. All right, there we go. So the table is behaving right now. Now, once you insert a table, the main thing to note is that you have 2 contextual tabs. You have one for the table design, and you have one for the table layout. So these provide all the tools we need to be able to manage the table. For example, if I click on table design, I can give this a table style. There are different styles that are available. Right? So feel free to choose any style you want. I'm simply going to use the dark table, or maybe even this one. And we have other options. If you click on the table layout tab, this is where you can insert more rows, insert more columns, delete rows or columns or the table as well. And you can specify the alignment for the entire table. We will cover these in just a little bit. Right now we have the auto fit behavior. We have 3 options. You can auto fit the contents. The table will reshape itself to just make the columns big enough to display the information that's in each cell. Or you can use auto fit window or fixed column width. Always choose auto fit window. This makes sure it's taking up all of the entire row here as well. Okay, going to move this up. We don't need that much space. So I'll just move my cursor right here on that line and I'll move it up here to about right there, right? So you can move these rows and columns individually. Let's go ahead and insert our first item. So the first item here is the truffle egg toast. So I'll just do copy and paste. So I'll go ahead and just press Control V, right? So that's the item. I'll go ahead and grab the description. So I'll triple click, copy that to the clipboard as well. You can also press Control C, and I'll go ahead and put this in as well, right? So there's our description. And then the price was $9.50. So I'll go ahead and put my price in here, right? So we just need to go ahead and add the image. What's really cool about adding images is when you add an image, it's going to fit in that cell, which is pretty cool, right? It's not going to overreach and spill over into the next cell. Now, I do have the image here already. This is what we're going to use. So if I go down to, right, so here's the actual image, and I can simply copy and paste that into that cell. But typically when you're inserting images, let's take a look at the options that are available for images here. If I click on the Insert tab, I do have pictures, and I can upload pictures from my device if you already have one. And then we have stock images, and then we have online pictures. Stock images are from Microsoft Stock. They're high quality images that you can use. And of course, if you use online pictures, you will have access to more pictures, but they're not always free to use. And you need to make sure that you give credit to the actual author, right? Once you insert an image, for example, I'll just look for an image here. Let me first click inside of the cell. And I'll go ahead and click on online. I'll go for a stock image actually. And so here is the stock. And let's see, what's our first item here? Our first item is the egg toast. So let's see if I can find an image for egg toast. And this is pretty close, but not. I'll go ahead and just insert this for now so we can see what this looks like. So it's downloading the picture and it's going to place it in that cell for me. And there you go. So it came in really big, but notice it's still fitting within that cell. So at this point, what we want to do, we do want some consistency with our images. So I can resize the image if I can find those resize handles, right? So here's one right here. Here's another one over here. I can't see the ones on the right though. You can also click on the Picture Format tab. And typically, a few things you need to do is to change the size of the picture, and you may need to crop the picture as well, right? So for now, I just want to make it not so wide, right? So notice as I change the width, the height is changing as well, right? So I think what I would like to do is just have it to be about 3 inches wide, right? About there. I can change it later if I need to, but this just kind of creates some uniformity in there. And there you go. So I just want to make sure that as I add pictures, they have the same width. All right. Want them to be at least 3. They can have different heights. That's okay. But they all need to be 3. If they're going to be smaller or greater than 3, the menu is not going to look pretty good here. Now, some things that you can do as well, we have the cropping tool. So just like cropping on your phone, you can just click on the crop tool here. And maybe you just want to kind of trim, maybe cut out some parts of the picture, maybe the left part of the picture, and maybe the right part. Get that sneaker out of the way. And then you can just simply click away from the picture, and there you go. So your picture is actually cropped. When you insert a picture as well, a good thing to do is to apply a picture style. So here are the different picture styles. So click on the Picture Format tab, and here are different things. So here's a nice oval. Here's a reflection. That looks really nice. A simple shadow. My favorite is the bevel rectangle, which is right here. So it looks pretty nice. This one is nice too. So we're just go ahead and choose whichever style you want. I'm going to be using the bevel rectangle for my pictures. So those are the basics with pictures. The final thing with pictures is when you insert an image, by default, you can't really move it around because it's kind of locked to that place on the canvas. So if you do want to be able to move that picture freely, you can click on the layout options here. So right now, this is in line with text. If you change it to, so if you were to change it to, let's say, one of these options down here, then you will notice that you can move the picture freely on the canvas. So that's the one thing to know. Okay, I'll go ahead and delete this. We just wanted to take a look at the styles, the cropping capability, and the resize capability as well. Right. So I'll go ahead and grab my picture down here. I already have it. So I'll simply go ahead and right click on it, copy it to the clipboard. And then I'll go ahead and I'll press Control Home to go back to the top. And I'll just go ahead and paste it in here. There's my picture. I'll go ahead and click on the picture format tab, and I'm going to give it the bevel rectangle. There you go. So that looks pretty nice. So now what I need to do is I need to go ahead and repeat the process. For the sake of time, I'm not going to do all of them. I'll do maybe 2 or 3, but just kind of repeat adding all the information in here. I'll go ahead and add the next one. So I'll press Control End here. So this is I'll grab this picture and I'll put the image in first. So there's the image. And so this item is number 2, which is I should turn on the navigation pane here so I can just easily go back and forth to the pages. Okay, so this one is the salad. I'll go ahead and add this to the clipboard. Paste it there. Right. Now you can feel free to add your own menu items if you want to. I just ask AI to generate some fancy menu items for me, and this is what I came up with. And so this is what I'm using here. Okay, so $11 for that one. So here we go. All right, very good. So 2, I'll go ahead and grab. Now let's check this picture here. Let's check the pictures. All right, so this picture is 3 inches wide. That's fine. And this one is also 3 inches wide, and that's fine. I'll go ahead and apply that same formatting. And now you can see just by giving the bevel rectangle, they pretty much look the same in terms of the layout, even though this one here, the salad, it's just a little taller than the actual toast here, but it looks pretty good so far. Okay, let's do one more. So here is our croissant, our salmon croissant. I'll copy that image. I'll paste it in here. And I can also use the format painter to copy that same style to this image. So if I click on my salad here, click on format painter, and I click on this image, I can give it that same type of look and feel, right? So not the dimensions, but the bevel style that I've attached to it. Again, feel free to check out the other styles that are available. We're good to go. Okay, so here's our croissant. I'll go ahead and grab all right, so that's the smoked salmon croissant, 1025. Okay, so this one is 1025. And I'll come back down here and I'll go ahead and grab this as well. More than likely, if you're working on a menu anyway, you would have all this information on a separate document. So you can just go ahead and add the information in here. So that looks pretty good so far. So we have 3. We still have room for a few more. Now I do have 6 items. I only have room here for 5 though. So if I want to add another row, I can simply, if I want to add another row, I'll show you a quick trick. If you click on that last cell on the bottom right and press the tab key, it actually adds another row for you. So that's a quick way to add another row to a table. Otherwise, I would need to click anywhere here on the last row. Click on I could right click and say insert rows below or rows above, columns, or I can click on the table layout tab and I can do the same thing. I can insert a row below. Right? But for now, I think we're good. So let's take a look at our table. Let's add some style to our table in here. So let's go ahead and click on the table design tab. Right, so here's a table design. And go ahead and feel free to apply any design that you want. Again, it's a menu, so I prefer to just have a dark background. So down here, I have some dark varieties. So here's the black background. The blue looks nice as well. All right, here's orange. So use any background that you want to use. This one looks really nice as well. This is a kind of that actually looks pretty good. Right. I will make the page though. I'll click on the design tab. I'll change the page color to black. I don't want to see any of the white space around there. So I'll do that. I'll go back to table design and I'll choose, maybe I'll just go with the black table here. Right. I'm choosing the black because the colors look really nice on the black. Okay, so far so good. I'm going to highlight that top row and I do want a splash of color in there. So I'll go for an orange color. I'll make the text a little bigger. I'll go for 16 and I'll make it bold as well. So that looks pretty good. All right, the next thing I'd like to do is I would like to center all of my content, right? Notice all the content right now is kind of aligned to the top left of each cell. So what I like to do is center everything. So what I want to do is click on table layout. I do want to make sure I select the entire table first though. So I'll select the table and then right over here in the alignment command group, I'll choose the center align. And look at that, everything is nice and centered. Even our images have been centered as well. So that looks pretty good. All right, so looking pretty good so far. Let's see, I'm going to, what are the changes that I want to make here? I do want to hide the grid lines. So right now, if I click on the File tab and I click on Print, you can see those grid lines are they're showing up on the menu. So I don't want that. So to remove the grid lines, I'm going to select the entire table again. So select the table. Click on the Table Design tab. And over here to the far right, here are the borders. So I'll click here and I do not want any borders. So I'll choose no borders. And there you go. So that will get rid of the grid lines for me. Now when I click on the File tab and click on Print, you can see they're not showing up. This one is showing up. I have to see why that is the case, but that shouldn't be there. Let's see if I can fix that. All right, so it looks pretty good so far. Now at this point, it's just a matter of adding colors in here. I'll go ahead and choose all of my content in column 1. And let's see, I'll go for a font color. I'll go for, let's see. So here's the high contrast. Let's see what blue would look like. That may be a little too light. Let's see. Maybe I'll just stick with orange. You know what? I'll go for a blue. And I'll also increase that text size as well. Also make it 16. So looking pretty good so far. Menu looks pretty nice. Everything is nice and balanced. Okay. Well, what else can I do? I can go ahead and add a nice header here at the very, very top. So if I click on the Insert tab, I can go ahead and insert a header. Now I do have built-in headers in here that I can use, but I prefer to add a nice picture up there, right? Or I can just put some type of icon. So I want to put a logo up there. So I'll just insert a blank header. Right. So now we're in the header space. You can see the focus now is on the header space. And what you can do is you can add an image, you can add a picture into the header space if you want to. I would need to find a really nice wide picture to use. I do have one on my computer though. So I'll click on pictures. And here's my coffee picture. I'll go ahead and insert that. All right, so there we go. And that looks actually really, really good. Let me just see if it's moving things around on the page. It's not doing so. So that looks pretty good. All right, so mission accomplished. I'll go ahead and click on the insert tab here. And I want to insert a footer. And for the footer, I'll just use I'll use a blank footer as well. And down here, I'll just type the name of the cafe. So I'll just say Mo's Cafe. And then I'll just say, I'll say, you know what, that's fine. I'll leave it like that. And I'll go ahead and center that text. So I'll click on the home tab and I'll go ahead and center that. Okay, so we have our header, we have our footer, we have our menu, and it looks pretty good. I'm going to stop here. I don't want to add any more, even though I may have room to add one more item. To get out of the header and footer, I can just press the escape key, and now I can interact with the menu again. All right, so I do have room down here. Let's see. I'll temporarily turn on the grid lines again so I can actually see what's happening. I'll select the entire table this way, and I'll show all borders again, so I can just kind of see what's happening down here. Okay, that's actually okay. I'm going to delete this row here. So I'll just right click and I'm going to say delete cells. I want to delete the entire row. And looks like I have one more row in there. I'll delete that one as well. Press OK. All right, so here is my actual menu. So just for the sake of time, I'm only adding 3 items, but you can see we've covered all the basics. We're able to insert 2 objects, a table. We're able to insert a few images in here as well. The last thing that we can do if you want to is you can insert shapes. Shapes are really, really cool. We have text boxes. We have kind of built-in pre-formatted text boxes that you can use. So you can always feel free to use an existing text box. But I like to use shapes. Shapes are really cool because you can insert a shape into your document and then you can actually type on it, which is really nice. So here's my shape, right? And down here, I can just go ahead and add some text. So maybe just some information for my clients. Let's see if I can add some random text in here. Let's just say a simple paragraph. And it does. All right. So let's say this is text that's relevant to my menu here. And you can move that text box around, which is pretty cool. Right? And they come with styles as well. If you click on the shape format tab, here are different styles that you can kind of use to make it stand out. So that makes it look really, really nice. So lots of styles that we can use. I'll go, I'll put a splash of purple in here. Let's see how that looks. That looks okay with the current color scheme. And I'll make the text a little bigger. And maybe what I'll do, let's see if I can apply a shape, a text style to it. Maybe intense reference or intense quote. I'll just go for intense reference, and I'll make that text white instead, and I'll make it a little bigger. Right. So there we go. I know this has nothing to do with the menu, but just some random text. And so between tables and shapes, it's a really great way to make your document look nice and professional. I'll go ahead and just remove the borders from the table. So I'll select the entire table and I want to say no borders. No border. There we go. All right, so at this point, I want to go ahead and convert this to a PDF, but first let me take a look at the print settings. Make sure everything is okay. I'm still not sure why this line is in here, but I'm going to go ahead and convert this to a PDF and see what this looks like. I also have a lot of space on this first page, so I'm going to quickly change the paper size. So I'll click on the layout tab and let's see if I make this 8.5 by 14. No, I don't want to do that. I'm going to have to change the orientation of the table. So I'll undo that. All right, that's fine. What I'll do is I'll go ahead and move this text box down a little bit. And let's see if I can kind of stretch this table out a little more to fit that page. Okay, I'm good to go. I'm going to click on the File tab. I'll go ahead and click on Export. I want to create a PDF. And I'll call this My Cafe Menu 2 and publish. Let's take a look at the options first. Okay, that looks good. Optimize for image quality, press OK. I'll go ahead and publish this. And this should open right away for me so I can see what it looks like. And there it is. Right, so there is our menu. Here's our nice big header. And there are our menu items. Right, and there we go as well. I did include the other pages, so I don't want them in there. So I'll go ahead and do a quick republish again. So File and Export, Create PDF. This time I'll click on Options and I only want page 1, right? So page 1, I'll go ahead and press OK. And I'll overwrite this one, Publish. Yes, I do want to overwrite it. And this is what the finished product looks like. So pretty nice, all on one page, really nice looking menu. So we added a table, images, and shapes. So we are good to go. Now the last thing to do, we did cover this in part 2, but it's always a good idea to click on the review tab and run the editor just to make sure that everything is okay. Right. I only have one clarity option here, and that is for, well, doesn't really relate to the menu. These are the instructions. So I am good to go. And that concludes part 3.